From pointy-sticks to plasma cannons, instruments of wrath are an integral part of our video gaming hobby. Some games, first-person shooters for instance, are entirely built around a weapon, using it as the player's primary mode of interacting with the world, or, shooting holes in the world. That counts as interaction, doesn't it? But weapons in games are usually just tools. A well-designed or iconic weapon will enhance a character's personality, or perhaps serve as a reflection of it, but that's about it. But then there are some weapons that actually have personalities of their own. Sometimes the weapon itself is sentient, sometimes it has a spirit trapped inside it, sometimes it houses an advanced artificial intelligence, and sometimes it just likes to scream nonsense as you use it to kill strangers. These weapons can have thoughts, feelings, opinions, and even plans of their own. That's a bit unsettling when you think about it, so maybe let's just stop thinking about it and look at some examples instead. I'm Peter from TripleJump, and here are 10 video game weapons with minds of their own. Number 10. Skippy, Cyberpunk 2077. The HJKE-11 Yukimura pistol in Cyberpunk 2077, did I say that right, really puts the smart in smart gun. Smart weapons in the cyberpunk setting are able to track enemy movements with self-guided ammunition, meaning that players don't even have to bother aiming. Brilliant! And this particular pistol contains an artificial intelligence known as Skippy, who can do all of that stuff and keep you company too. Skippy, taking the form of a holographic bullet caricature, will regale the player character V with fun facts, such as how many pints of blood are in the human body, or how long a brain stays functional in a decapitated head. See? Fun! Unfortunately, Skippy isn't entirely cooperative. He will switch firing modes without the player's input, and will sometimes even fire off a stray bullet without V even pulling the trigger. I don't know about you, but I feel like this qualifies as at least a minor fault in a gun's AI. Somebody ask Alan Turing. Alan Turret? We've gotten Skippy, but nobody's named a sentient gun Alan Turret yet. What's going on in the world? Anyway, things don't stay rosy with Skippy forever. Eventually, the little fellow will ask you to take him back to his registered owner. The player can either agree and lose the talkative smart gun forever, or refuse and have Skippy never speak again, other than to occasionally yell, "Bad user." Yeah, it made me feel pretty guilty too. Number 9. Lilacore, Baldur's Gate 2. Lilacore is a magical sword in the epic, sweeping fantasy yarn that is Baldur's Gate 2. This surely means that it's found in some ancient hero's shrine at the end of a perilous quest given to us by a high priestess or great wizard or something. Let me just check. Oh. No, it's found under a city in a sewage outlet, in a quest given by a half-dressed old man who hangs around with an ugly carrion-eating monstrosity. Not quite the introduction one would expect then, but Lilacore is powerful nonetheless. It provides excellent damage and attack bonuses, and always has a hearty battle cry ready for every enemy encounter. The sword even protects its wielder from charm and confusion spells. Very helpful, unlike those evil mind-altering swords that are going to be showing up later on in this list. No, Lilacore definitely isn't one of those evil weapons. He's just really enthusiastic about his job, and his job happens to involve violent murder. But what else did you expect? As a two-handed sword, his career options are somewhat limited. It's not as if there's much demand for enormous letter openers out there. Number 8. Grimoire Vice, Nier. Unless you've got a spider cornered, you're unlikely to consider a book to be a weapon. Nier presents us with the magical tome known as Grimoire Vice. This powerful publication is capable of levitating and unleashing devastating spells and projectiles at your hapless enemies. Yeah, let's see that spider escape me now. Additionally, and in line with the whole point of this list, the Grimoire Vice is sentient. He's also very well spoken and has an extremely high opinion of himself, claiming to be able to swat enemies aside like flies and bring entire kingdoms to their knees. The player character still has to rescue him early in the game though, so it is possible this floating book is, in the parlance of high literature, full of crap. Interestingly, Grimoire Vice has a nemesis of sorts in the form of Grimoire Noir. You see, Vice means white in German, and Noir means black in French. Alright, that doesn't really make as much sense as I thought. Why not put them both in the same language? I guess because grimoire noir is very difficult for people on YouTube to say when they're doing their voiceover voice. Take it from me. Number 7. The Umbra Sword, the Elder Scrolls series. Umbra refers to the very darkest part of a shadow, especially when pertaining to a solar eclipse. A sword named Umbra, therefore, is unlikely to be a herald of sunshine and rainbows. The Umbra sword from the Elder Scrolls series started off as just a regular old blade, created at the behest of Daedric Prince Clavicus Vile. Eventually, it developed a mind of its own and turned against its creator. It can be obtained by the player in Morrowind and Oblivion, taking the form of a powerful soul-siphoning sword. Players should think carefully before relying on it too much, however, as the lore behind the weapon is pretty dark. The sword consumes the personalities of those who wield it, with many of them taking on the name Umbra and forgetting their old selves. There's also something about Clavicus Vile trapping the sword in his realm, and a city called Umbriel, and an attempt to summon Umbriel into Tamriel. Look, it's the Elder Scrolls, which means there's more lore than any single human being could ever comprehend. Just take our advice. If you see the Umbra sword lying around somewhere, best just leave it be, eh? Number 6. Johnson, Shadows of the Damned. Shadows of the Damned stars Garcia Hotspur, a flamboyant demon hunter out to save his true love. He's accompanied by Johnson, a sentient, demonic, shape-shifting weapon. Garcia originally won him in a bet, but the two have since become lifelong companions. Johnson's usual form is that of a foul-mouthed flaming skull, but he can also take the form of various different weapons, and even a motorcycle. Handy. Now, I'm sure this is completely innocent, but at one point in the game, when Johnson gets particularly excited, he morphs into a very long-barreled gun. Garcia holds this gun in a specific manner. He also refers to Johnson as his big boner, but I'm sure that's just due to his skeletal appearance. Yeah, it's gotta be. Actually, wait, were you aware that Johnson is sometimes used as a slang term for male genitalia? I'm sure that's just a coincidence, though. There's no way the game creators were going for any rude jokes here. Still, I must say that Garcia really does wield his Johnson like a pro. One can only admire his confidence and virility. If anyone makes another one of these, can we call it Wilson instead? Number 5. Cupel, Skies of Arcadia. Imagine owning an adorable pet who loves cuddles and rubs. No, we're not talking about Johnson anymore. Move on. Now imagine owning an adorable pet who loves cuddles and rubs that can also transform into a dangerous weapon able to slice your enemies in twain. That's essentially what Fina from Skies of Arcadia has with Cupel. This odd amorphous fish blob appears to be formed from a similar material to that of the T-1000 from Terminator 2. Cupel is certainly cuter than the T-1000, but is no less dangerous, able to morph into a variety of bladed forms instantly and at will. Knives and stabbing weapons, indeed. In the world of Arcadia, though, Cupel is actually fairly weak. Fina is the support character of the group, and players will spend far more time using her to heal, buff, and generate focus than to actually attack. As such, Cupel doesn't get to thrust his razor-sharp appendages into enemy soldiers, monsters, and wildlife quite as often as you'd expect. Ah, poor thing. All is not lost though, as Cupel's final form has the most powerful attack stat in the game. Haha, it's adorable, the way he just wants to kill things. Number 4. Fi, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Taking place at the very beginning of the Zelda timeline, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword reveals the origins of the famous Master Sword. Originally known as the Goddess Sword, the legendary blade was inhabited by Fi, a spirit whose purpose was to guide the first great hero. Unlike certain other sword-inhabiting spirits, Fi is entirely benevolent, offering valuable advice and information about enemies, NPCs, and treasure locations. That being said, she comes across as a bit robotic, providing statistical analysis at times and being unable to comprehend the emotions of humans. She refers to Link as Master, and her voice sounds oddly synthesized. Actually, hold on a second. Fi is referred to as a spirit, but she acts far more like an AI. She even beeps like a metal detector when treasure is nearby. Is the Master Sword a machine? No, it's a sword. It's right there in the name. Do pay attention. But Fi's appearance and personality are still a little unsettling. At least she's not using her telepathic abilities to turn Link to the dark side, though. Well, not yet anyway. Don't get any ideas, you spooky blue fairy thing. Number 3, Steve, Dark Cloud. Alright, we're pretty far into this list now, and we've seen legendary weapons, evil swords, morphing demon guns, and more. It would seem that, especially in a fantasy setting, you can expect a sentient weapon to have sufficient power to match its special status. Action RPG Dark Cloud for the PS2, in which the player characters are attempting to restore a world shattered by powerful summoning magic, is likely to continue this trend, right? No, I have misled you, you fool. Instead, we get Steve. Steve is a humble slingshot with a happy little face. His stats are middling at best, but many players choose to stick with him to enjoy his cutesy appearance and insightful commentary. Someone on the development team must have really liked Steve, as they took time to write numerous quips for him to convey when encountering every enemy type in the game. Observations range from comments on certain enemies having potential glandular problems, to mockery of other enemies' positions in the evil hierarchy. To be fair though, we have a soft spot for Steve too. I mean, who wouldn't? Look at his little face. Appreciate Steve. Try to be like Steve, everyone. Perhaps join the cult of Steve. Yes, join us. Join us. Join us. Number 2, Frostmourne, the Warcraft series. Originally appearing in Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos, Frostmourne is one of the major points around which the plot of the series revolves. The spooky and somewhat frosty-looking runeblade contains the spirit of Ner'zhul, the former Lich King and master of the undead scourge that threatens the world of Azeroth. Over the course of Warcraft 3, the handsome and heroic Prince Arthas of Lordaeron seeks out the legendary sword to protect his people. His noble goals soon become warped by the villainous spirit within the blade, however. Chaos, betrayal, and slaughter ensue. Still, he had good intentions. Although there were warning signs, to be fair, Frostmourne being guarded by numerous powerful revenants that warn Arthas not to take it, for one. Arthas' companion, Moradin Bronzebeard, outright telling him that he thinks the sword is cursed, also qualifies. What else? Oh yeah, Frostmourne's sinister glowing blade and the demonic goat skull wrought into its hilt. Come on, Arthas. For someone who lives in a heroic fantasy world, you're really not very up on your tropes, are you? Either way, by the end of the events of the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, Frostmourne has been shattered and its wielder finally defeated, so we can all rest easy. Well, we can within the fictional world of Azeroth. Out in the real world, we've still got actual Activision Blizzard to worry about, unfortunately. It's far worse than a cursed sword. And number 1, Morningstar, Borderlands 2. The Borderlands series is absolutely full of guns. Thousands of the blighters. You can't walk more than a few meters without tripping over one. The series has also had a very specific brand of madcap humour, and as such, almost inevitably, a lot of these guns can talk. There are loads to choose from, but for this list we've decided to go with the sniper rifle Morningstar. This gun will loudly complain about everything you do. She will berate you for not giving money to charity, and will remind you that some poor souls can't afford ammo. She'll even attempt to guilt trip you. Headshot an attacking bandit, and Morningstar will lament that he probably came from a broken home. Oh, and she'll often outright call you a murderer too, which... okay, she's got us there, fair enough. It's an interesting juxtaposition, considering the feats of destruction this powerful sniper rifle is capable of. And travelling with Morningstar is certainly an experience. I mean, imagine this kind of AI in other types of technology. Perhaps a car that berates you for poisoning the environment. Maybe a computer or mobile device that constantly reminds you should be out there meeting friends and following your dreams instead of watching list videos on YouTube. Oh, no, the last one doesn't bear thinking about. You click a recommended video at the end of this. Carry on, down the rabbit hole you go.